The road out would be treacherous, and I didn't know where it would lead, but I followed it anyway. It was a strange world ahead that would unfold. Many got it wrong and never did get it right. I went straight into it. It was wide open. One thing for sure, not only was it not run by God, but it wasn't run by the devil either. That is the last part of Bob Dylan's book from 2004 called Chronicles Volume 1. I read that back in 2004 and just finished reading it again for this speech I'm going to give you. It's a biography on Bob Dylan. Just going to quickly go into his early life, also talk about his influence on folk Americana music, also how it affected the counterculture in the 1960s American Civil Rights Act. And also, I want to talk to you a little bit about what he's doing today. After 5 decades, he's still releasing albums. You can check out his new release. It's called The Basement Tapes. It just came out this year. If you want to listen to an excerpt, you can go to npr.org and search for Bob Dylan on the music page, and you can listen to some of that music. I want to talk to you first about Robert Allen Zimmerman. That's Bob Dylan. He was born Robert Allen Zimmerman, May 24th, 1941 in Minnesota. And there he was raised by a loving Jewish family who were very active in their community. And eventually he decided that he wanted to go to the University of Minnesota, and he did that. And while he was there, he had so much influence with not only Americana, folk, blues, and some, newfound rock. He decided he wanted to do that. He was very influenced by Woody Guthrie at the time. So when he was at the University of Minnesota, he would go and perform at coffee houses, little bars, little venues, and he decided to use the persona of Bob Dylan. And this was his inspiration from Dylan Thomas, who's an amazing poet, writer, and if you haven't checked him out yet, you really need to. Not only did he get influences from popular writers at the time, he was also influenced by the times that he was living in and his contemporaries. So in 1961, he decided he was going to move to New York, and he actually went to Manhattan to take in the thriving music scene, the beat culture, the counterculture. There was a sexual revolution going on, there was a civil rights movement, and he basically played and created a soundtrack for that generation, and it left a legacy of great Americana music. I really encourage you to listen to any of the songs that he's made, but in particularly Blowing in the Wind and The Times They Are A-Changin'. That's a 6-minute song, but he wrote it back in the 60s, and it's still very pertinent to today, especially in light of a lot of the unrest that's going on in our country as far as discrimination and civil rights. It's kind of amazing how it's still applicable today. Not only did he explore a lot of different traditions in music along with the folk blues, he did some country, gospel, rock, rockabilly. He's just been a recording for the ages. He's published 6 books. He's done drawings and paintings. He's got more than 100 million records sold, which makes him one of the best-selling artists in America. He's received Grammys, Golden Globes, Academy Awards. He also has movies made about him, and in May 2012, President Obama presented him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Bob Dylan was influenced by Woody Guthrie, who is an American icon, and he had actually had a chance to visit his musical icon right before Woody Guthrie died. If you need to check out some of that music too, I highly encourage you to. Some of the songs you already know, you just don't know you know them. Bob Dylan wrote a lot of songs for our generations. You don't know a lot of them, but if you were to Google Bob Dylan famous songs, you would see a whole list of songs that you would say, oh my god, I didn't know Bob Dylan wrote that. And he did. So all in all, not only is he an amazing musician, but he also used that power and wielded it to talk about some really heavy conversations that were going on in his time. And he used his early life to build on a foundation that created this larger-than-life persona. And from there, he was able to create this soundtrack of the youth of America, and music that still survives today. 5 decades later, he's still releasing albums, and it goes to show what a great musician he is. because his music really does transcend the generations. So check out Bob Dylan. He's still putting out music, and you can even check out some of his music from the 1960s.